Good morning. It's my privilege to share my thoughts with you at the EUBC 2021 around advances in India on the biofuel landscape. Uh, my name is Shishir Joshipura, and I'm going to walk you through a very interesting concept that India is rolling out as a country. But before I go to that, a bit of introduction about my company. I come from Praj Industries Limited. Uh, Very proud to share with you that the Biofuel Digest has rated us as the #1 place to work in the bioeconomy in 2020. We were also ranked number 2 and 3 respectively by the Daily Digest as the renewable fuels and design engineering capability organization. We are a company with over 750 references worldwide. We were established 38 years ago, and what you see on the left of your screen is something that we are all very proud of. In 2020, when the world was reeling under a unique challenge of the pandemic, our chairman was awarded, who also founded the company, the George Washington Carver Award for 2020, a moment of immense pride for us as a company, but also for India as a country. Just to give you a little bit of a brief and on my company, we are a very organization based out of India, Pune, but a very global footprint across the 5 continents. One of the few organizations that can lay a claim that we have got a plant at every continent in the world. If you look at evolution of mobility as humankind, we have moved from animal drawn carriages, human powered vehicles, steam powered systems on all modes of transport, whether it was air, whether it was rail, whether it was road, whether it was marine. And as we transitioned, we saw advent of internal combustion engines as the big drivers for driving the mobility need of the mankind. And IC engines have been at the core of a lots of human development that we have witnessed over the last 100 plus years for the humanity. Comes a time where IC engines, which have obviously led this revolution, also then gave rise to a side problem, and that is because of the fuel that we are using, and therefore the associated CO2 emissions, the associated pollution problems have all pushed the man to find more sustainable long-term solutions. And that is when we move over the next 30 years, we expect the landscape to change substantially as we shift our in our quest for more sustainable solutions, which will come in form of electric vehicles, biofuels, hydrogen, and so on. Just a bit of a idea on what's happening in India as a country. We are an energy importing country. God has not given us huge natural reserves of crude oil. Therefore, whatever we do, we will have to keep importing our energy needs. If we keep importing energy, and a country which is growing, which is expected to grow fastest in the world, we can only surmise that oil and gas demand will rise in double digit and over and above the GDP, given the fact that right now we are at a very low penetration level on a per capita basis. Well, along with that, we will also have the problem that we have to solve, and that is, as the energy consumption in the economy rises, we will also see the CO2 footprint expanding for the country. We understand that in order to ensure the future of our incoming generations, we will have to behave in a more responsible and sustainable way. And that means, and that is where India was a signatory to COP21 at Paris, where we have agreed to voluntary obligations to curb the GHG emissions. Number of sectors in the economy contribute to carbon dioxide emission. A whole host of actions are being taken around every single sector to reduce the CO2 footprint. And transport sector, which contributes about 14% of the sector-wise contribution to the economy, and is the number 3 sector in terms of its intensity of CO2 reduction, is a very, very important sector, and therefore any solution that impacts this sector will have a large reaching implications for the sustainability. Let me take you through a landscape of India's mobility sector. If you look at the road transport, we have nearly 290 million vehicles on road in 2020. And we are adding at the rate of about 20 odd million vehicles a year. So there is a car park which is already 290 million strong, and we are going to add 20 million vehicles to that every year. 95% of these vehicles run on IC engines, and they use products derived from crude petroleum refining, such as petrol and diesel and CNG in some extent, to actually create the mobility through the IC engine solution. Look at the air transport. Once again, over 680 aircrafts flying in the domestic route, and of course the international flights as well. Over 341 million passengers and growing at a very, very rapid pace. Once again, all aircrafts, as we know, are powered through crude oil route. Marine, India is a big economy, growing, and over 200,000 cargo vessels have sailed out of Indian waters and shores. And therefore, if you look at it in its entirety, the road transport, the air transport, and the marine transport, all three put together, a very large dependence on IC engines for mobility, and of course all the IC engines currently powered through a crude oil derived fuel. A sure shot commitment to increasing the CO2 footprint in the world, and we are no different than most of the economies in the world in that sense. But India is a unique country. We are a developing country. We have a country which is getting younger. Not many countries in the world can lay the claim to this fact that our country is getting younger by the day. And that fundamentally means that this favorable demographic that we have got will call for the government and the economy to create jobs, because these young people who are coming into the system will have to have an employment so that they can gainfully engage and create value. As they do that, we also have to make sure that all these actions do not lead to deterioration of the climate and actually aid climate preservation. India is a agrarian economy. Our farmers are no different than most of the farmers in the world. They find it very easy to torch the standing residue once the harvesting is done as the easiest solution to take away their standing residues and prepare the field for the next crop cycle. If that is the case, they end up creating air pollution of a localized kind and health hazard for several citizens who actually do not live near the field, but for whom the winds of nature would actually derive this product of combustions and create health hazards. As a country, if we have to keep importing energy, we have no choice but to keep incurring heavy expenses on our drains on our foreign exchange residues. Combined with all this, we are also having a situation where the energy security of the country is of course not safe, because we are now dependent on energy for governments which need not necessarily be friendly at all the times. Let me introduce to you a very unique concept called biomobility. Biomobility is a platform that promotes the use of renewable resources to produce carbon neutral transportation fuel across all modes of mobility, whether it is surface, whether it is air or marine. What you see on the right of your screen is this concept. So there are different solutions: bioethanol, cellulosic biofuels, biodiesel, compressed biogas as we call it in India, or the renewable natural gas as the word calls it, and the whole host of technologies which are currently under development on marine biofuels, whether it's sustainable aviation fuels for the aircrafts, and in the near future the biohydrogen and the biomethanol. So a whole host of platform is possible for us to look at the same set of fuels that we use today on the crude side, now shift to the biological side of equation and become much more sustainable as we move forward. So what does the biomobility platform do for India? Of course, each of these elements today are at different stages of technological development. Some of these are at complete and full maturity. Some of these are still under development, and some are still at a stage of where we can call them future biofuels. But the key is that we are set out to transform ourselves as economy from a hydrocarbon based economy to a carbohydrate based economy on the biomobility platform. Typically, this slide denotes to you whatever is possible in today's crude oil refinery is also possible through biorefinery route, and shift our life from hydrocarbons to carbohydrates. And one of the most important things is when we do this, it does not change the lifestyle of us as a society. And for that, it actually will mean that we'll have the highest acceptance and the fastest implementation to a sustainable future. Let me walk you through a small chart here, which shows you on the 4 parameters of environment, economy, employment, and empowerment, 3 different solution platforms. Conventional mobility as we know it today, IC engines, environment, less said the better because of CO2 emission. It does help the economy to the extent that it creates employment, but it does not help a country like India, which has to import its energy needs. Is definitely creates employment with all the mobility that gets associated, and of course an empowerment, because any economy in which mobility is answered creates lots of opportunity for growth. Let's shift our attention to biomobility then. It is environmental friendly, it is local, it includes a much larger population in its fold. It creates employment because remember that biofuels actually sustain and further strengthen the existing IC engine entire development cycle. A small statistic, IC engine driven car will probably have 17,000 odd parts, and therefore so many part manufacturers and employment that it creates. Today over 10 million people are employed in India's auto parts sector. And an e-vehicle on the contrasting side will have only 700 parts, and therefore obviously the employment opportunities will shrink. And talk about empowerment, that remains common because mobility by itself creates a huge amount of empowerment. If we look at another solution which the world has been talking about, and that is to create electric mobility. The e-mobility part is apparently addressing a few issues but not all. It is CO2 friendly provided the power source is CO2 friendly. It is creating a new form of employment. At the same time, it will take away a huge chunk of employment because IC engine related 17,000 versus 700 argument that I gave earlier. Will it create empowerment? Yes, it will create empowerment because mobility will still stay. But will it save India's foreign exchange? I don't think so, because India will still have to import the basic raw material for the batteries. Therefore, biomobility actually represents the comprehensive, sustainable, inclusive solution because it creates tremendous empowerment within the economy. Realizing this, the government of India has actually started to push very aggressively for some very important programs. The government announced doubling farmers' income as its key focus area. The new national biofuel policy that was launched 2 years ago talked about creating a biofuels economy. This was further substantiated by introducing the Satat program, under which not only the liquid fuels but also the gaseous fuels were brought under the umbrella. So now we have a very unique program in the country where we are pushing for higher blending. The blending rates have already gone up from 2.3% to 7.2% over the last 5 years, and government has announced a very ambitious program of enhancing the ethanol blending rate to 20% by 2025. This, coupled with a program to generate 5,000 renewable natural gas plants in the country, are likely to lead to creation of an absolutely fantastic unfurling of opportunity for over 100 billion investment over the next 5 years. We have excess of sugar, so we have sugary feedstock. We have excess of starchy grains, which the country is producing excess of what we need, and not only that, but we also have these now being stored, and they are not fit for lots of these, almost of the order of 20 million tons, not fit for human consumption. We also have 84 million tons of agri residue that is going, which is not being put to good use. So if you look at these three feedstocks, we are going to create a tremendous push in the economy for sustainable development as we go to a biofuel enhancement from its current level to the new level of 20%. It will lead to over 1600 million tons of GHG emission reduction. It will create a million employment. Over 30 million farmers will become benefited and beneficiaries of this. And we expect that India can save over $27 billion in its foreign exchange outflow. No other program can have this far-reaching positives for literally every stakeholders. Recognizing this, the government of India has pushed in a big way a program for ethanol blending, a program for renewable natural gas, and creating an ecosystem that actually supports over 100 billion investment in the next 5 years. This, I believe, would help us to bring our nation to a very new era where we will be in a position to not only address our energy needs in a more sustainable way, but also pave way for a more sustainable development in the world. Thank you very much.